Good day. I am Henny Jane L.S. Casinas. Hello, Under Secretary General, Foreign Defense Ministers, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. This is the third UN Defense Peacekeeping Ministerial I have attended, but I but the first in my home soil. I am very proud to speak here as an American. I am patriot. I love my country and I want to see it thrive. I also believe in an America that is part of international community. Countries working together on an equal footing is how we reduce the risk of conflict. It is how we avoid the need to send men and women of our militaries to fight and sacrifice overseas. The UN was set up for the purpose has a way of resolving differences peacefully, supporting each other's prosperity, and extending universal rights and freedoms. It is uh, it is an all our interest. It is an all our interest for the UN to be made effective, brought closer to the life of citizens, and not ever misused. At a deeper level, a country that believes that all men and women are born free and equal cannot be true to itself if it doesn't defend those principles for all people, wherever they live, regardless their circumstances, and no matter how desperate their struggle. In fact, our support should be strongest where rights is strengthened the most. We seem incapable of upholding minimum standards of humanity in many parts of the world. That this come at the time when humankind is richer and more technologically advanced than ever before is all the more painful. 18 years ago, when I first began working with the UN Refugee Agency, there were just under 20 million displaced people worldwide, and the numbers were falling. Today, there are over 65 million people displaced, and the numbers are rising. More countries are experiencing some form of violent conflict today than any time in the last 30 years. UN peacekeepers now comprise of the second largest group of the forces deployed overseas and are often required to serve where there is a little no when there is a little or no peace to be kept. Against the backdrop, it is easy to dismiss our institution as flawed or ineffective. My hope instead is young people in particular feel inspired to join the effort to improve them, to join the men and women in the arena, to paraphrase President Roosevelt, who are striving to do deeds and whose faces are marred by dust and sweat and blood. In that regard, I want to express my respect for men and women who serve as peacekeeper and for those who have been killed and injured. The protection of civilians is the primary responsibility for those who have been no. It is usually where government is unable or unwilling to protect civilian life. Those United Nations missions often represent the last and only hope for millions of people, facing daily threats to their safety and their basic rights. The need for peacekeeping troops to have the best possible training and equipment and the highest standard of personal conduct becomes obvious when measured against weight and responsibility. That is why this meeting is so important, because it is in the hand of the government you represent to enable peacekeeping to live up to its ideals and the needs of our time. So, so as you so as you discuss how to strengthen UN peacekeepers and give peacekeepers of capabilities they need to operate in today's dangerous environment, I ask you to take time to consider these questions from the perspective of women. Around the world, there are countless examples of women rising, taking leadership, taking their destiny into their own hands, and inspiring us all. But women and girls are still the majority of victims of war. They are half of all refugees and the vast majority of the victims of rape and other sexual and gender biased violence. Women are the absolute epicenter of modern conflict, in the worst possible sense. But more often than that, they are still on the outside looking in when it comes to politics decisions about their futures. If we went by the principle that those affected by a problem should be in charge of determining the solution.